Are you a highly sensitive person considering becoming a truck driver? Are you a highly sensitive person who's already a truck driver and looking for a better way to truck? Are you an HSP who feels the world is just moving too fast, getting too complicated, and it's just overstimulating? I know firsthand how you feel. I muddled through this overstimulating world for a really long time before figuring out I was an HSP. And then I suffered through it even longer before I found truck driving. Before trucking, I just couldn't find that perfect level of stimulation. In high school, I was put in honors program, but then I failed out. In college, my baseball coach called me either Barry Bonds or Barry Manilow. At work, I was stigmatized because I didn't want to be promoted, because I didn't want to have to manage people. But once I started trucking, I was able to get this right. So, if you're an HSP that can relate to any of this, then there may be a job waiting for you. I want you to know that truck driving is a job where you can thrive and craft an amazing life. It just takes doing it the HSP way. Hi everybody, my name is EJ Anderson, the Congressional Auditor turned long haul truck blogger, also known as the happiest, kindest trucker on the road. Welcome to White Glove Trucking, my channel dedicated to helping you use trucking as a vehicle to live your best life. Elaine Aron, the mother of HSPs everywhere, because she wrote the book on HSPs, said that often HSPs must figure out how to exist in the world, and that this personal work needs to come before any professional work. This made so much sense to me because my entire life I've always been concerned less with the what of work and more with the how of work. So how do I truck the HSP way? So the first thing I had to do was change the definition of trucking from one of a hard charging, sleep deprived, clock obsessed grunt to one of a well slept, slow life and slow lane embracing savorer of the experience. And to do this, it starts with a few key strategies. So first, I will tell you these 3 strategies I use to help me drive and truck the HSP way. And after that, I'll give you some practical tips on how to manage sensory overstimulation while on the road. Strategy number 1, focus on your HSP journey and not the destination. In her book, Elaine Aron, and I'll just quote from her here, she says that some HSPs think there's no way they can be out in the world and survive. But there are many HSPs who have found a way to be successful on their terms in the world, doing something useful and enjoyable with plenty of spare time to have a peaceful inner life. For me, trucking is both this useful and enjoyable activity. I truck the HSP way by focusing less on where I'm traveling and more on how I am traveling. And trucking is perfect for having a rich inner life. All you need to reach trucking HSP heaven is an automatic truck, an audiobook, and the cruise set at 55. This little trifecta is the foundation of so much of my enjoyment in trucking. In an automatic truck, there's no fiddling with the gears. The truck takes care of that. The cruise is set at 55, so I'm not coming up on anyone or need to pass anyone, and everyone flows around me like a pebble in a stream. So all there is to do is just sit in your nice cozy truck, no coworkers or supervisors to hassle you, no cars to worry about passing, and just settle into your audiobook or your thoughts. Elaine Aron said that HSPs should leave themselves plenty of time to daydream. Well, welcome to trucking, welcome to the open road, and welcome to your daydream machine. I can't believe I'm getting paid for this. I could do this all day. But that brings me to strategy number 3. Don't overschedule yourself. Elaine Aron says that besides sleep and recreation, HSPs need plenty of downtime just for unwinding and thinking over the day. She says that often HSPs can get this downtime while driving, which is something I experience. But she says we still need to make time for just doing nothing. So that means even though you may feel like you could just do this forever, don't overschedule yourself. For me, that means hitting my joyful mile marker. This is the point where I have driven a sustainable amount of daily miles, where I am as happy on the first mile as I am on the last mile, and where I leave off the day anticipating the next day's drive. Okay, that does it for my 3 foundational strategies for trucking the HSP way. Now let's take a look at some tips for managing sensory overload while on the road. Tips to reduce noise stimulation. Now, some noise is unavoidable in trucking because of the engine noise and the road noise. A commonly cited statistic is that trucks emit about 85 decibels from about 50 feet away. Now, I have never measured the decibel amount in my truck while I'm rolling, but I know it's a lot quieter than the sound you hear when you're outside the truck. So I estimate that the inside noise level is probably about like a conversational level, which is about 70, maybe 75 decibels. And this would put the noise levels when you're cruising down the road right about at EPA's limit for avoiding hearing loss over a lifetime. So I keep the windows up and I keep the speeds low to keep the sound down when I'm cruising. I also don't idle my truck at night when I'm sleeping. And if possible, I try to park away from other trucks that also may be idling or have their refrigerated units running all night. Also, whenever possible, I try to park head to feet or my truck at the other truck's end of their trailer, the back of their trailer. That also puts my head away from their running engine. Lastly, for noise tips, if you're feeling overstimulated, I would say try to go to the rest areas instead of the truck stops. The truck stops can be kind of loud and boisterous, but the rest areas are a little more chill. Tips to reduce visual stimulation. Now, you would definitely have to contend with the sun as a truck driver. Now, I'm photophobic, so I can definitely relate to this one. And I can actually feel something twitch in my eye. If the sun glares off of something just right and like goes right into my eye, I can literally feel something almost like snap. So unless you drive at night, this one is pretty unavoidable. But even if you do drive at night, you still have to deal with bright headlights and bright lights reflecting in your side view mirror as people are coming up behind you. So what I like to do is drive with this light on. That way my eyes don't dilate so much, and so the lights, the headlights and the side mirror lights don't seem so bright and aren't blinding me. And lastly, what I do is I'll tilt my mirror down so that the headlights in the mirror aren't shining directly in my eyes. One really nice feature of these trucks is that these blackout curtains will really make it really dark at night when you're trying to sleep. So it creates a nice dark cocoon-like effect for sleeping, so you won't have a problem there. Tips to reduce physical stimulation. So these roads are not always well maintained, and it can be kind of jarring sometimes. So in order to make that a little less jarring, you can do a couple of things. You can move your trailer axles back to put the weight on your truck axles, which will make the ride a little bit smoother. And then also, another guy told me that he has moved his fifth wheel back to also redistribute the weight to make a softer ride. So you can try that. Tips to reduce stinky smell stimulation. As you're cruising down the highway, you will pass some stinky farms, some stinky refineries, some stinky waste treatment plants. And this is pretty much just unavoidable. You're gonna pass some of those. I just try to hit the air circulation button as soon as I can. As soon as I see those cows, I try to hit the air circulation button to keep it from coming in here. And also, unfortunately, some truck drivers forsake their hygiene while on the road. So you might be in a truck stop and you might get a whiff of something unpleasant occasionally. So that's just some things you have to, I guess that's the one stimulation you have to deal with as a trucker, the stinky smell stimulation. All right, well, those are my tips for managing stimulation overload while on the road. And here's a little secret. If HSPs can manage this overstimulation issue and enjoy the job, they can excel at truck driving. Why HSPs can make exceptional truck drivers. In her book, Elaine Aaron lists many characteristics of HSPs that I know would make them great truck drivers. She says that HSPs are cautious and always on the alert for danger. HSPs are always aware of subtleties in their environment. HSPs can be better at spotting errors or avoiding making errors. And she said they are great at tasks that require concentrating and require a lot of vigilance. All these traits will be great for assessing traffic, avoiding accidents, and just generally just keeping safe on the road. They would also help HSPs notice subtle changes with the truck that would help from having a breakdown or a road call. So HSPs will be less costly drivers as well. So all in all, these characteristics would make HSPs a coveted asset for trucking companies, or it could make HSPs confident in their ability to be successful as an independent trucker. So to sum all this up, you guys, I just want to say that if you're an HSP and you're avoiding the world, or you're working in less than ideal circumstances in order to avoid being overstimulated, then there is a potential bliss for you out on the open road as a truck driver. I should know. I found it for myself. I love the juxtaposition of being in the sanctuary of my truck and yet still being out moving through the world every day. So my world is not shrunken. I still experience a lot of things, but I just do it in the HSP way. Just as Elaine Aaron said, I found a way to live a full life and also a way that I can use my gifts to help benefit the world. And you can too. Thanks for watching.